Hi,
Hello,
who are you?
I'm Heitor. I'm basically here in Bosque village because I'm interested in permaculture.
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 Great. And you're from where?
I'm from Brazil.
Brazil. You got a pretty thick accent there.
Thank you.
So you speak Portuguese.
Yes,
And you speak Spanish too?
Spanish too.
And English.
And English.
Great. 3 languages. I've got one and a half languages. Well, I'm glad you're here. You're visiting Mexico, I guess, as well.
Yes, I am, and keep traveling in Mexico.
Yeah. So you're interested in permaculture. I actually offer permaculture training here. We have videos and a lot of activities, so people can come here and they can get certified.
Okay.
One of the odd aspects of what we offer here is social permaculture.
What do you mean with that?
Permaculture, officially, well, there's a couple ways to think of the word. It's either permanent agriculture, like sustainable agriculture, or permanent culture, sustainable culture. And the founders of it say that it means sustainable culture,
Okay.
the whole thing. But then every single book you read about permaculture only talks about energy systems, agriculture, and a lot of it's about big pieces of land that don't apply to people in the city. And so the idea is that we want to focus specifically, we're going to add the adjective in there, social permaculture. The culture we have, the culture we design, how we live. And that's a lot of what the Bosque experiment is about. Yes, we do the agriculture, but every detail of how we live matters. Is that interesting to you?
Yes, sounds
Okay.
very interesting.
Well, people that come here, and as we live and we kind of have customs here and how we do things, I've been thinking we need puzzles, like ways to test ourselves about how to think about things.
Good.
And so we need questions that we ask, and then we compare answers.
That sounds nice.
I'm going to give you a question.
What is it?
The question is about cats. This is a cat. This is Callie Spot. She's a sweetheart. She's been living here for a long time. She's an old lady. She lives in her own house, the casita here. And she's kind of lonely because she didn't get a lot of people through. But she likes people. You can go pick her up if you want.
She's really good.
Yeah, she's kind of a sweetheart. Has sharp little claws. Let's do an experiment. Let's talk about cats as part of social permaculture. So you'll sit down with your notebook, and I'll sit down with my notebook, and we're going to write down all the good things and bad things about cats. Should we have them at all? What role do they play in society? And we can think about that not just for here and her. I want to think about her specifically, actually. What's her role here? And I'll give you one example. This is a free one because everybody knows about it. Because I want you to be thinking too, right? Cats kill birds. That's one of the, people are against cats. Some of them are against cats because they know cats kill birds. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. What's the cost and benefit of cats in society?
I love it.
Yeah, so her in particular here. Hi, honey, we're talking about you. And also in the city, and in your life. So you could pause this video if you want to play with us, and you could actually make your own list of all the good things about having cats in the city, or this cat, if you know anything about this cat, the good and the bad things. Why should we have cats in society? How should we not have cats? And then you can unpause and join us as we evaluate cats in society. This is social permaculture, trying to think about every detail of our lives. Why do we do things the way we do? Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, Heitor, you got your list?
I'm ready.
All right, I got my list too. Let's talk about cats. What's your first thing?
First, speaking about Kelly Spot,
Okay.
I put it in my list in 1 to 3 positive and 1 to 3 negative.
Okay.
So, positive things from Kelly Spot. She lives in the casita, so she eats rats. And she eats possible bugs and things that are not useful for us here, because we put food here, we put things here that we need to be safe.
So she kills mice.
Yes.
That was on my list too. Great.
The second thing is that she makes company.
Right.
When you are in the middle of everything, I don't like talking about the middle of nothing about flowers, but when you're in the middle of everywhere, having a company, an animal company, and domestic, it's a good thing. I put it as positive too.
It feels good. It's like a friend.
Yes.
I have that on there.
Feels good.
Okay. And we still need to do this one. Great. What else?
Then the negative things. Then she need attention, and you already have a lot of things to do, and maybe that's a negative one.
And she likes a lot of attention.
And she's a special
pushy.
cat. Yes.
I forgot to put that on my list of negatives. She's pushy and kind of annoying.
Yes.
At times, yeah. My recommendation with that, by the way, is if you ever come here, if you don't want her to annoy you, don't pet her, ever. Because if you start petting her, she's going to say, oh, this person is a source of love for me.
That's my kind of person.
Yeah. So you got one that I didn't get. Okay. And so I'm going to put on here a big H with a circle, and you get kind of a point for you thinking of it. I didn't think of it. Okay.
I put the bird things, but they are already being talked about.
Right. So killing the birds we both got.
Yes. I put like -1 because she's a pretty old cat, so I don't think she's a giant killer anymore.
Right. She's kind of old, and I mentioned that too, that she's older now, so she doesn't really kill as many mice, which is bad. But she probably doesn't kill as many birds either. She also does kill lizards, I think. And you didn't have that on your list, but how would you know? You haven't been here very long. So that would be, I'll put that as a point for me, but it's not a really valid point because how the hell would you know that?
I'm not here to man.
And you people on your list, you wouldn't know that either. All the stuff about Callie Spot as an individual cat, you wouldn't know. What else you got?
I put it that we need to be aware of the dogs because we need to close the door every time, and it's a thing that we need to remember always. So it's a negative thing.
Right. And that's a point for you because I actually didn't write down that we have to be extra aware to close the door. I have some similar stuff, but it wasn't quite that. So.
And the last one, it's expensive in monetary ways because you need to be fed and everything.
Right. She has to be fed. You have to. Yeah. There's expensive feeding her cat food. I have that one down. Right. And it's a high protein. And it's a high protein diet. And so dogs eat less protein rich things than cats do. So cats are very specific in that they need more meat in their diet. And so. Meat obviously has a greater ecological impact. So now it's probably a lot of waste meat. I don't know what cat food's made out of. Okay. But okay. So.
That's my Callie Spot list.
That's your Callie Spot list. I'm going to add a couple things on there. She's really pretty. Did you get that one?
No.
Okay.
It's like my
so that's a point for me.
+3 too.
It's kind of like something you said about that she's just nice to have around. But I also like to have beings around that are pretty.
Good.
I have a photograph of her. I stopped taking photographs of this cat because I got one that was so beautiful that I can't make a better photo. It's just like the best photo I can make of her.
Really?
Some people are allergic to cats.
That's a good one.
That's a huge one. And that applies for not only her, but in society. Now, in her case, she doesn't seem to cause a lot of allergies. Like, I'm allergic to cats. And I pet her, and I don't have a big reaction. So I put that as both good and bad, in that she's not very allergic-y, right? And I put that I am allergic, and some people are allergic as bad. So that's a big issue. Now, they do have hypoallergenic cats, I guess. They have cats that don't cause allergies.
Yeah.
So it could be that we should breed those kind of cats more and start breeding ones out. But I also don't know statistically how common cat allergies are. Now, if we talk about the city, if you have a cat, if some people have cats, you can't have somebody stay at your house. I've left parties because my throat starts to close up and I can't breathe.
Because of cats.
Because of a cat. And so we have a couple issues there about how society deals with cats, that we could actually breed cats that don't cause allergies. We could have hairless cats. They have those, but that's just weird. Callie Spot drools. When she's happy, she drools.
Yes, that's a big thing.
Yep. And it's kind of cute in a gross way.
More gross, I think.
Yep. Okay. The dogs are not trained to be cat friendly. Now that's actually not her fault, and it plays in with what you said about you have to protect her. That's actually a fault that the dogs aren't trained correctly.
First day.
Because what it means is she can't travel around to places as much. Also, I can't put her in another house to kill mice there because I'm afraid in a new environment that she'll leave that environment and get killed when she's walking around. Her brother was killed by dogs, and other cats have been killed by dogs here as well. In fact, that is actually the reason I'm not going to get another cat.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
And that's actually, yeah, so on my list, Brian will be sad when she dies. The point system doesn't really work here because I know this cat, I know this space, so we're not going to really score this. But this is all food for thought. And this is the idea of thinking about all the details in her life and evaluating. How are we going to think about these things? Hair on the couch. That's true in the city, it's true here.
It's ever.
She gets hair on everything. So, yeah,
That's a good point.
that's no good. Now, as far as the birds go, we put that down as bad, that cats kill birds. We know that. But we live in a forest here. There are wild cats. There's bobcats, ocelots. There's also ring-tailed raccoons, or ring-tailed cats. Yeah, ring-tailed cats. Those kill birds. So it's natural to have feline things in a natural environment. So my dogs scare those kind of animals away. So I actually have less of those feline things here. So the fact that I have one, and like we said, she's old, I don't think throws it out of balance. I mean, I don't think we have to say birds are this magic superior animal that should never be killed by anything. You know, we have an ecosystem here, and she's an artificial domesticated part of it, but
She don't make that difference now.
yeah, I mean, yeah, the dogs don't ever kill birds, so my total bird death is actually less. And I put out water for the birds, so I'm increasing the bird population. I'm planting things that birds like. So I just don't think it's that big a factor. If you look at a city, I don't know what percentage of birds get killed. I don't know how many birds get killed. I do know that windows kill birds.
Yes.
They run into them and die.
Maybe more than kids.
Maybe more than cats. And so cats are not the only culprit, but it is something to consider. Maybe that's also a question of how many cats we have in society. She's lonely. She usually doesn't have anybody here. That's because I haven't been accepting a lot of guests lately. When there are guests here, she loves it and they love her. But I feel bad that she lives a fairly solitary, lonely life.
Yes.
And I'm responsible for her since she's a domesticated animal. And so I have her in a situation in which she's socially not really fulfilled. Yeah, so that's not good. She's sharp.
Sharp.
She sometimes,
Sharp, bro.
yeah, she like hurts your
Even
skin
for
a little
attention.
bit. Yeah, and she like paws at your sweater. Like, this is an alpaca sweater I like. And she like wants to mess with it.
Like she's doing now here.
You're right, so she's bugging you right now. So she's sharp. That's got to be a point for me there. We got kill mice. Oh, in the city, now here she goes outside and poos. She doesn't poo in the house. So there's no litter box here, which is great. But in the city, a lot of people have stinky litter boxes.
You need to clean it.
Yeah, that's a huge, disgusting thing. And so that's a very bad thing. Also, cats can overpopulate. Now, this cat is sterile because I had her sterilized. So that's a human problem if they don't sterilize the cats. We don't want tons of feral cats running around, making noise at night, messing with everything. You mentioned costs. I mentioned costs. We both got that. They don't actually eat that much. So even though we mentioned the cost of food.
Yes. I put it not a big negative.
Right. So it's yeah, I mean, I spend a lot on dog food and I spend not a lot on cat food. I do find sometimes she does kill something like a mouse and she eats most of it. So
That's good, too.
So that's kind of cool.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the cost of feeding her is like nothing. Also, I just leave out a huge bowl of food. And so I don't have to spend any time feeding her either. So, it's kind of, this is a good thing about having cats in your life, is it's kind of like having a semi-wild animal. Because they're only sort of domesticated.
Yes, they kind of. So
Yeah. I mean, in fact, I think they domesticate us. And so some people even think that there might be like spies from an extraterrestrial civilization watching us. I don't know if that's true. It's interesting. Yeah. One of the biggest reasons I have on my list in favor of cats is people like them. They're just popular.
a lot.
I mean, the Egyptians thought they were like gods or something almost. I mean, for a long time, people have liked cats. So we have a domesticated relationship with this animal, just like we have a relationship with dogs and horses. These are important animals. And so even though I might argue cats are useless, they don't do anything except maybe kill some mice.
But they make people happy.
They make them happy. People like them.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Incredible thing, actually.
It is. And I think that's the biggest one is we want them. So we're going to have cats. Then the question is, how can we have cats? We've discussed a lot of issues of how can we have cats in a good way or a bad way, not overpopulating. Maybe people shouldn't get 10 cats and become kind of, crazy cat people. I think that's pretty good list. Are we forgetting anything?
I'm done. I think that's it.
Okay.
And my list was always more positive than negative things.
Yeah. Well, if people like cats, I like this cat. Even though I'm not going to get another cat because it makes me so sad when they get killed. I like having a cat. I like having her around. I'll miss her.
Yes, I have a cat in Brazil and I like my cat. And I know that my mom loves my cat.
Over here.
He is sweet.
So question for you watching the video. What did you get that we forgot? What do you disagree with about what we said? Boopy-doopy-doo. Doopy-doopy-doo. So let us know. And again, this is an example of how we want to think about everything else in our life, about every food ingredient we use, how we cook food, what time we get up in the morning, what holidays we celebrate and why, who we're friends with and how we spend our time. We want to think about it all. In this case, we just had some fun thinking about this pretty kitty. Hi, pretty kitty. Okay, bye.
Bye.